belong in a creepy abandoned town? By the looks of things, the denomination of this place is the Church of Merciful Fate. Okay, maybe it's something else. I knew it! Satanic Rastafarians! Tom and Julie end up getting stranded when the Satanists blow up their car. On a side note, the characters in this movie really need to lock their fucking doors. Oh well, at least somebody decided to take Shatner's car out for a joyride. Although I think they probably should have just got in and left instead of trying to find out who was driving it. Now, and in case anyone was wondering when we were going to see John Travolta in this movie... Oh my god, I'm about to attack you with something. Ah, jeez. Yes, that really is John Travolta in his very first movie role. Although I'll admit, after watching this the first time, I had to look up who he was in the movie since I didn't recognize him. Hey, every A-lister's gotta start somewhere, right?
What is it, Julie? What are you seeing?
More than him, that's for sure. Okay, actually Julie has a flashback to when the world was sepia-toned. What I assume is the origin of Satanic Thanksgiving. Turns out Corbus was the leader of a satanic cult hundreds of years ago, and one of his disciples was Shatner's ancestor, who somehow had an even less convincing toupee. Corbus gets ratted out by Shatner's wife, and the townspeople decide to burn him as a witch, because when did people ever get that wrong back then? So Corbus vows to come back and harass Shatner's descendants for all eternity, or at least until he gets a steady gig on Airwolf. Julie!
What's funny? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Julie, you've been acting weird ever since this Isla zombie guy attacked us. Is there something strange going on here? Well, just like Shatner learned earlier, when things start getting weird, get the fuck out of Dodge.
You can't go back there, Tom.
Yeah, he does. There's still 35 minutes of the movie left. At least Julie's able to get back safe and sound. Or does she? Jesus, Julie, she just wanted to ride to the store so she could pick up some Visine. Also, I thought you were supposed to be psychic. How the hell did you not know she was back there? Alright, everybody, hop to it. We gotta finish shooting this Candlemass music video before sundown. And whether he's playing Captain Kirk or in this movie, at some point Shatner's gotta take his shirt off. Yeah, don't worry, Tom. I'm sure you'll blend right in. Just be casual and act Satan-y. Corbus begins the ceremony, and to start off, he's gonna sacrifice a goat by stabbing it with his eyebrows. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned goats, since do you know what happens next?
Who calls me from out of the pit?
That's right, Ernest Borgnine goes full goat boy in this movie. Not to worry though, there's Anton LaVey at the ceremony. That's how you know all this is authentic. And lo, we shall burn the ceremonial Mego action figure and pledge his soul to Satan.
Friendly unto him. For I am the same, the true worshipper of the highest.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you one of the most important scenes in horror movie history. Indirectly. The mold of William Shatner's face from this movie was used to create a Captain Kirk mask, and if it looks familiar at all, that's because it was later modified to create Michael Myers' mask in Halloween. And in this scene where Shatner's eyes are blacked out, you can really see it. See, without this movie, we might not have one of the most iconic horror movie killers ever. The only way this could be more influential is if they then put a hockey mask over his face. Shatner then pledges his soul to Satan. I guess he had to get back to playing Captain Kirk somehow. The Satanists also see through Tom's flawless disguise, but if all else fails, just start shooting. Seems to work pretty well. Okay, Tom, I know things look a little bad right now, but in a few years, you'll get to be an alien. One way to make sure this movie's rated PG, just have the blood come in 2 different flavors.
Okay, where's Julie then?
Alright, well the editor's telling me Tom made it home safely, so that's good. You know, considering Corbus is doing all this to get that book the family has, maybe you should tell us what's in it now that we're over an hour in.
It's a registry of the people, the names of the people that he converted to Satan. These are people who believe that they've sold their souls to the devil.
Wow, the names of almost every powerful person in Hollywood is in here. Even Tom Hanks. So it turns out that if Corbus ever gets the book, he'll be able to deliver all the souls he's taken to Satan, or something like that. I'm beginning to think this is really just a copy of the script since it has the movie's title written in there.
That devil's reign. Let's do it.
have it. That's where you give somebody a golden shower after eating a bunch of asparagus. So I've heard. Okay, actually the Devil's Reign is this big, fancy, vase-looking thing that houses all the souls of Corvus's followers and is the source of his power, or something. Again, I'm just waiting for the orgy to start here.
Check.
Alright, Tom, there's only room for one awesome mustache in this town. And apparently it's yours, never mind. Oh, and by the way, fellas, great job bringing the book Corvus needs to deliver his souls to Satan with you so he can easily take it. Haven't you two ever heard of a safety deposit box? Alright, we've been building it up the whole movie. Now let's get this satanic sex orgy started.
Joey!
Oh, you idiot. You have a shotgun. Why didn't you use that? You've seen it works on him before. Now you've been captured by the Satanists. Okay, I know I already made the Halloween connection, but when Shatner tilts his head here, he really does look a lot like Michael Myers. Alright, begin the sacrifice, and then we will rock out with our cocks out. Thankfully, Tom and the dog still have one trump card up their sleeve.
Unless you allow Tom and Julie Preston to leave here safely, I will destroy the Devil's Reign!
Even if he does let him go, he should probably do that anyway, considering all the souls of innocent people it has inside. Just saying. Well, that didn't work. I probably should have kept that shotgun. It really would have come in handy right about now. However, the doc tries to appeal to Shatner's humanity to get him to destroy the Devil's Reign. No, that's not gonna work. Other than Star Trek, this is one of Shatner's most famous movie roles. Hey, that vase belonged to my grandmother. You're paying for that, asshole. Even though the bottle's called the Devil's Reign, I didn't think destroying it would bring actual rain. Maybe instead of robes, the Satanists should have wore rain slickers. And even though this movie's rated PG, it's still a 70s PG, and this movie is gonna earn that rating, goddammit. I'm not joking. This melting sequence takes up more than 5 minutes of screen time. They must have been really proud of these effects. Meanwhile, it looks like Ernest Borgnine is transforming into the monster from Terror Vision. No, I've been defeated. And we just booked that Marilyn Manson concert for next week. This just goes to show that the only way to truly defeat Satan is with Jesus' love. Or, you know, violence. That works too. Well, the church has been destroyed, which means the Satanists have been defeated. Or have they?
Bye!
So, yeah, turns out Corvus is still alive and Tom's wife is now trapped in the Devil's Reign, even though Shatner destroyed it earlier. I guess I shouldn't ask too many questions, since according to the movie's poster, this has the most incredible ending of any movie ever. Suck it, the usual suspects. During its initial release, The Devil's Reign received mostly negative reviews, but over the years it's gained a cult following, mainly due to its cast and Anton LaVey's involvement. Plus, you know, the Michael Myers thing probably didn't hurt. So is this a case of an underrated movie not getting its due when it was first released? Or is it mainly remembered as an entertainingly bad movie?
Who calls me from out of the pit?
Yeah, it's mainly the second thing. The 70s had its fair share of occult and satanic-themed horror movies, and The Devil's Reign is not what I would call one of the scarier ones. There are some decent ideas, like the eyeless cultists and the finale where everyone melts into goop, but most of the entertainment value here comes from stuff like watching Ernest Borgnine try to act scary while wearing goat makeup. And the fact that the movie takes itself so seriously while all this ridiculous stuff is going on only adds to the camp factor. This one's good for a few laughs, but for a movie that involved a real-life Satanist, don't expect anything too scary. In the end, though, it's still good that it got made, because without it, we might not have Halloween, which also means we might not have Halloween Resurrection, so bit of a mixed bag there, actually. Well, that's all for now. Until next time. Today's movie is a special request from Patreon supporter Kyle Brackman, who asked me to review the movie House. No, not the Japanese movie House. I'm talking about the 80s American movie called House. Although now that I've played that clip, why the hell am I not talking about the Japanese movie? Well, I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. Anyone who ever visited the horror section of a video store back in the day probably remembers seeing this box cover artwork on the shelves. I know I sure do, because when I was a kid, House was a staple of video stores. And why shouldn't it be, since it was directed by Steve Miner and produced by Sean S. Cunningham, both of whom are best known for their association with the Friday the 13th franchise. Now, this movie doesn't have as many nubile young teens getting murdered, but what it lacks in TNA, it makes up for in wacky ghost puppets. Oh well, the movie's still rated R, so who knows, maybe we'll get to see a few of those things naked. While Steve Miner and Sean Cunningham were both known for straight horror at that point, House was an attempt to make a horror movie with a more comedic tone. And while it's not as crazy or gory as something like Evil Dead 2, it's still more hard-edged than, say, Ghostbusters. Unlike the Japanese movie, though, this one doesn't have any ass-eating ghosts, which I guess, depending on your preference, is either a good or bad thing. Sean S. Cunningham and Steve Miner present a movie that won't be as popular as Friday the 13th, but will still be a franchise, damn it. Whoa, Harry Manfredini did the music for this? But I haven't heard a single yet in this movie. Anyway, we begin on the Amityville Halloween 5 Norman Bates house, where a kid's delivering groceries.
Mrs. Hooper, I'm running groceries.
Even though I know this is a horror movie, this could also be the beginning to a porn. Well, one thing's for sure, this house has an exquisite collection of fan art in it.
Mrs. Hooper? It's me, grocery boy.
Whoa, Mrs. Hooper? If you don't have any money for the groceries, I'm sure you can pay me another way. Hey kid, there's still a chance to turn this into a porn. This just means it'll have to be on the dark web now. Turns out the woman who hanged herself was the aunt of our main character, Roger Cobb, played by none other than the greatest American hero himself, William Katt. Fortunately, by this time, William's afro was considerably less awesome than it used to be. Cobb is a successful horror writer. He's so popular, even Lost Boy's flock of seagulls here loves him.
Weird look.
Thank you. Like your hair.
Thanks. Looks like a pipe by the girl over.
Your most devoted fans.
Yeah, welcome to having an audience, Roger. Despite being successful as a horror writer, Roger wants his next book to be about his experiences in the Vietnam War.
But it's something I have to do. I've got to write this book.
Look, Roger, it's the 80s. Both horror and Vietnam-related stuff is almost guaranteed to be successful. Wait a second. You mean Roger spends his days writing about horror shit and making TV dinners alone? Who the hell does he think he is? Me? Oh well, at least my computer's better than his. Cobb's aunt also left him her place in her will. Maybe that'll be enough to take his mind off being separated from his wife.
I was just calling to tell you I got your message. I'm sorry about your net.
I went to the house. Title drop. Cobb also has dreams about the ending of Carrie. Makes sense. William Katt was in that movie, after all. Here's the first sign this place is haunted. Cobb's real estate agent is the hotel manager from Ghostbusters. In addition to Cobb's aunt committing suicide, we also learned that his son mysteriously disappeared in the house's pool. So what person wouldn't want to buy a place like this? Also, I think Roger should strongly consider getting a new real estate agent.
Whatever happened to this uncle? Oh, he was diving for abalone off the Point Ridge. Sorry about that.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with Remax. In case you needed even more proof this place is haunted, after his son disappeared, Cobb's aunt straight up told him that.
It was the house.
It was the house. house that did it. Roger, it's the house.
Just get Zelda Rubinstein to come in and give it the once-over, then you can put it on the market. Rather than sell it, though, Roger decides to stay in the house to write his next novel. Let's see, what should I call my Vietnam book? Hamburger Helper Hill? Nah, that's no good. I don't know if not selling this place was such a good idea.
Listen, everything about you. Leave while you can.
No! Well, I see no reason not to keep staying here. Fun fact, in the 80s, shirts didn't count as V-necks unless they went halfway to your balls. Anyway, time for Roger to meet some of his neighbors.
Ready yet? Harold Wood. Hi, Roger. It's great to have a new neighbor. The one who lived here before you was nuts. Getting this bitch out of the sun. Just a senile old hack, really. Shoots my hand. Try to gold, though.
Alright, that's pretty funny. Despite seeming friendly, I don't know about Harold.
Roger. Roger Cobb, right?
Yeah, that's,
I'm your biggest fan.
Be careful there, Roger. George Wendt does kind of look a bit like a gender-bent Kathy Bates. As if this movie didn't already have enough 80s sitcom stars in it, one of Roger's Vietnam buddies is played by Richard Hall.
Down. What are you doing? Nothing. Shut up and listen, you big ox.
His name's Bull, asshole. Hopefully all these Nam flashbacks were able to help Cobb write his book. And then Private Pyle said, I am in a world of shit. Perfect. At least Roger seems to be figuring out there's something wrong with this house. Holy shit, hangers! Okay, that's not the only thing in there. Well, great. A demon's gonna bring the value of this place down by at least 20,000. Now that he's seen the house is haunted, Roger decides to get some proof, and he's even using beta. Who cares if it didn't catch on? It was still a superior format, damn it. Alright, time to record some paranormal activity. Still less disappointing than Paranormal Activity 4. No need to waste all this equipment, Roger. Just wait a few years for the internet to come along and you can create the first Cam Girl show. At least he has Harold to keep him company.
Do you believe in ghosts?
What kind of ghosts?
More like the Ghostbusters type, where they're like weird cartoony things as opposed to just see-through people. You know, those kind.
You think they're Looney Tunes?
Sorry. You've been in Vietnam. Plus, your only child. Your wife divorced you. I mean, you got a few marbles rolling around, but...
Well, when you put it that way, you sound kind of crazy. Maybe Roger should get John Ratzenberger to help him out. He's used to dealing with monsters. Back in the Nam flashbacks, I see the soldiers are preparing for combat the way audiences prepared for this movie. Bad news, fellas. I don't think you're actually in Vietnam. You're in somebody's backyard in Marin County.
Let's find out. John.
John?
I'm starting to see why they lost the Vietnam War. Roger's flashback gets interrupted when he finds out the house is haunted by the ghost of a big-mouthed dilly bass. Well, that does it. Random shit starts coming to light. You gotta go full Ash Williams on its ass. Yeah, fuck you, ghost fish. Fortunately for Cobb, tacky wall decorations aren't the only things coming to life in this place. Okay, Roger, instead of staying here, just do what every other writer does and finish your book by doing drugs in a hotel room. At least this gives Cobb an excuse to take care of his ex-wife. Just say you thought she was a ghost and were trying to kill her again. Actually, I might have spoken too soon. Sweet Jesus. This thing is like if Slimer and the ghost of Tammy Faye Baker somehow fucked. And the twist is, the house wasn't actually haunted at all. Roger was just a traumatized Vietnam vet who ended up killing